Hello, this is Telltale Books. Welcome back. I'm Greg.
I'm Emily. This is
And-
Saoirse.
Yes.
She's joining us.
And we have another in our series of Philip K. Dick short stories from the beginning of his career. This time, a story called Second Variety.
This is my favorite of the set we have read thus far.
Okay.
So
I
up
think
to
I
this
could say
point,
that, too.
yes. This is definitely a top tale for me as well.
Yeah, I've already got it on the website.
Good. Because this was incredible. Synopsis. War's going on. Robots have predominantly, again, taken up arms on behalf of humans because it has just become so hard to fight human to human. I mean, there's still barracks out there. There are still people fighting in and behind enemy lines, as well as having their allied forces. But for the most part, robots have been produced in underground factories that had been forgotten and sent into the enemy lines in order to destroy the enemy, essentially. Again, the enemy is the Russians. Russians? Germans?
Yeah, it's U.S. against the Russians. Atomic war has obliterated a lot of things. The Russians took the upper hand early on in the war, destroying much of America. Most of America went to a moon base, moved to a moon base, and just left fighting forces behind on Earth.
Yeah, some generals, some political people here and there to just kind of take over, but for the most part, they are pre-programmed robots running around.
So the Americans
drilling people's faces off.
Invented these little robots.
The claws
that crawl around and they can instantly kind of transform, where they have these spinning things that just chop a person up
and take your head off.
And there's just hundreds of these things running around the battlefield.
They're like rats now, and they're producing all the time. And it seems like it's hinted that the factories are self-sufficient, like they are robot-operated
the claws
facilities that we basically
self-sufficient, self-repairing.
And
keep building more of themselves.
Yes, and then it's just plans are taken and programmed into these facilities from the moon base, and these robots replicate and fix each other, and better designs come out all the time, and that sort of thing.
And the robots will go after everything living.
Yeah, anything that's alive and moving.
Even the American soldiers, if they don't put this special metal bracelet on.
Yeah.
This bracelet identifies them as Americans, and then the robots, they'll check them out, but they'll kind of leave them alone.
Yeah. They might tag you or follow you, but they can't do anything to you. They won't harm you. So one day, the Americans are sitting in one of the bunkers on Earth that is operating, and a Russian runs in from enemy lines and gets chopped up by these claws. And all the Americans are saying, like, why did he risk it? He was the only one. There's no way he could have known that he would outrun him. Like, there was just no chance. He must be up to something. So they go and examine the remains and get the claws to kind of go away, and they realize in his hand is a message. Mm-hmm. And the message is asking for peace talks between Russia and America. So, of course, they tell the message to all the politicians up on the moon, and they say, well, I mean, it's dangerous, but the war's gone on so long, and now they just decide to do peace talks. It might be a trap, but it might not.
Yeah.
Like, it seems pretty serious if they're willing to sacrifice a guy to come over enemy lines like he did and brutally get murdered. It must be pretty desperate.
Mm-hmm.
So they send...
So the main character walks out with his metal bracelet on and starts heading across to the Russian forces. Along the way, he comes across this creepy little kid.
He thinks he's like a radioactive mutant. He believes.
This kid just wants to follow him.
Yeah. He won't eat. He won't sleep. He has a teddy bear.
Won't stop walking.
Won't stop walking. He definitely seems like he's mutated from radiation.
Mm-hmm.
And he hints that there were others with him, but his parents are dead, and like kind of gives a very, very minimal little kid kind of story, where it's like, okay, he's emotionally and physically stunted a lot, so the guy just lets him tag with him, thinking, well, I mean, if I leave him out here, claws are probably going to find him, so he has a better chance with me than he does with any of the claws or anything else out here.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes over to the Russians with this little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Russians blow up the little kid.
Yeah. And then
the story ends. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Yeah.
No, then the Russians explain the little kid is actually a robot.
And they take him and show him, yeah, look at all these internal bits.
A new variety of robot has been created. And they collected the remains of one of them that they blew apart. They were explaining to him, you'll get one of these little kids following you. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, hundreds of them will come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and they're all identical. And they'll kill you. And then there's another variety that pretends to be a wounded soldier.
Yeah.
So these robots are being manufactured to appeal to human emotion. Mm-hmm. And then they say they found this badge of this other variety that they have no idea where it came from.
Well, they found the wounded soldiers are the first variety. The kids are the third variety. They found a Mark III tag in the metal from one of them they blew apart. So they said there must be a second variety.
Yeah, there has to be a second variety.
They hadn't seen it yet.
They hadn't discovered what it was. So he's with these 3 Russians who are the only surviving after this attack from, what was the little boy's name? Tommy's or something? Or
oh, I can't
The
remember.
little boy had a name, and they call it was a little boy name, like Tommy or Timmy or something like that. And they're like, a swarm of them just destroyed our barracks. We just happened to get away because we were with this girl who's basically also a wartime whore. Mm-hmm. So they're like, our lust basically saved us, and we're with her. So it's like the 4 of them accept, and they're trying to decide whether or not they need to get back to the American base because he keeps trying on his walkie to get in touch with the American barracks, and there's no response. So he's like, I bet these things just came in and destroyed. Mm-hmm. And then the bracelets are not effective. So he's like, okay, if this is true, then it's totally possible that when I left my barracks, they got taken over.
Yeah.
I can't get a hold of them.
Yeah.
So
now here's the typical Philip K. Dick story where you've got these robots loose. They've
that
taken
look like
over
people.
all the fighting.
Yeah.
And they are killing everything. Everybody is at the mercy of the machines.
And now they can replicate a human. Mm-hmm. And if you have not encountered one of the varieties before, you wouldn't be able to recognize them in the first place. Yeah. But they're also learning to adapt. Mm-hmm. They're learning to disguise themselves so that even though they are a variation, they can look different enough that it's not noticeable. So one of the issues they run into is one of the guys gets paranoid, freaks out, is fairly convinced his comrade is one of the variants, and shoots him. And it ends up being he's not a variant. Right. And so they're like, okay, well, we need to get the hell out of here and figure out what's going on because it's just us now. Mm-hmm. So they start traveling back to the American one and have crazy-ass shit go down and all this shit. And I don't want to spoil it because it's really a good ending. Yeah,
we'll avoid the spoiler from here. Go read it yourself.
Yeah, go read it yourself.
Brilliant story.
It's fantastic.
It is number 3 in the robot war theme with paranoia, except now he's getting more paranoid. There's a lot more Cold War coming into this one than you had in
there's a lot more
the Defenders.
Enemy interaction between humans in this one. And like the way I like to I described it to one of my friends was, it is like Who Goes There or The Thing meets Blade Runner. Smashed together in the Cold War. It's good enough to be a top tale.
It is a top tale.
It is my favorite thus far of the ones we've read by Philip K. Dick, officially. Erasing any time I said it was a favorite one before. We'll see what happens next, because this one might get erased and put in second place.
He keeps getting better.
He does.
The man was a genius.
For sure. This was a really, really great read. Lots of great action sequences, well described. I enjoyed that part of it. I don't usually like the fight scenes.
And this one was a novelette, so not quite so short as most of the rest.
Yeah, you'll need a significant amount of time to read this one, but it flew by for me.
And here's something you don't know. It's part of a series.
Really? There's more?
There's a sequel novelette. I
can't wait till we get to it.
It's the Claws series.
Naturally. Ooh, okay.
There's only 2 stories, but there's another story
just to know that there's more.
Called John's World.
Because I left this one feeling like, I wish there was more to this story and more to this world, and like, we figure out what happens next kind of thing. And now I know there is. So
there's another one coming.
I'm excited. So yeah, go read it. Second Variety. It's right now my favorite Philip K. Dick story.
On the top of the heap.
Right up top. Really good read. So
yeah, maybe you'll discover your next favorite story.
So thanks for joining us. Like, subscribe, have conversations with us. We love to hear your comments. We would love for you to read along. What's the next one we're going to be reading, Greg?
The next one we're going to... Actually, we've already read it, but
yeah,
as we're shooting videos in the order of that we've read. The next one we will be shooting will be The Infinites.
The Infinites. That was another good one, too.
I keep getting it confused and calling it The Infinities, but no, there's no I before the ES. Yep. It's The Infinites.
Yep. Also a very good one. So, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.